also found something else in Joyle Cave.
Who did we see?
Who did you meet?
Ran into John Semi-Newman.
G'day guys, and welcome back to another video. We're here in Margaret River. Now, it's no secret that Margaret River is a well-known and prominent wine region, but I was surprised to learn that the region only accounts for 3% of the country's grape production. However, it does produce over 20% of Australia's premium wine. Now, white varietals are champion in this region. However, the Chardonnay is outstanding and considered world-class. However, interestingly, it's Cabernet Sauvignon which is considered the hero of the region, with almost every wine producer here in the area making one. We're going to take our own little wine tour today after a bit of a brewery tour yesterday.
Another day, another paddle here at Cheeky Monkey Brewery. Have I got that right? Cheeky Monkey Brewery? Is that correct? Very good. Few beers, got a draft, got a hazy pale. Unfortunately, I had to get an XPA. I'll struggle through it, but I'll get there. Then this one is the limited release. It's a cheeky mid. Which is a lager beer, not much fruit, not much flavour is how he described it, so I don't know how he sells it. But anyway, mid-strength beer, I'll see how I go with these. I don't even need to look at my tasting notes for this one. The hazy pale ale. Wow, that is fruity. Tropical and citrus aromas. Straight up your nostrils, that one. Now it brings me to the XPA. This is their award-winning signature drink. Horrible. But I'll drink it.
Ben's marvelling at the light boxes that have been made here.
Marvelling? I just know how expensive that timber is. Hell, the old timbers. Here we go, the grand finale. A cheeky mid, as I said before. It's a lagery type drink with not much flavour is how the what would he be called? The dude described it. So I don't know if he's selling much of it with the way he describes it, but I'll be the judge. Interesting to have that one as number 4 on the paddle because it has no taste at all. Not wrong when he says it doesn't have much flavour, I suppose, but I've just come from having an XPA, which is obviously full of garbage flavours, so my mouth is pretty full of them.
Why would you make a beer that has no flavour?
Well, it's a mid-strength, so maybe. Maybe that's why. Back in the car.
Now, interestingly, Ben's always said that beer tastes better at the pub. And I'll be honest, I actually thought that it was just a ruse to get us to go to the pub more often. But it turns out that he's actually tasting a difference. So a factor that does play into the difference in taste is the carbonation levels. So draft beer or tap beer often has less carbonation, which leads to a more creamier, smoother mouthfeel, which allows you to better experience the full flavour of the beer, versus the bottle or canned counterparts tend to have a higher carbonation level, which leads to more of a fizzy experience. Temperature also plays a crucial role, so draft or tap beer is often served a bit warmer than the bottled or canned counterparts, and the subtle warmth actually enhances the beer's aromas and flavours, leading to a more enjoyable drinking experience. And finally, the method in which the beer is served plays a role. So draft beer or tap beer is often served straight from the keg or the cask, ensuring kind of peak freshness, whereas bottled and canned beer often has to go through more processes, such as pasteurization and filtration, which tends to subtly alter the inherent characteristics and flavour of the beer. So yeah, I'll have to admit that he's been onto something this whole time.
You missed another key factor, which is you're generally with your mates, so everything's better when you're with your mates as well, so that's in there as well.
Well, there we go. I don't think there's any science behind that, but actually there probably is.
There could be. The one thing that I thought was quite funny was Michelle keeps calling it draft beer being tap beer, and I'm like, no, draft is a type of beer. Carlton Draft, I've drank it since I was 18. Turns out we're both right. Draft beer does mean it's from a tap, but there happens to be a type of beer called Carlton Draft that has used that word in their name for their beer. And funnily enough, at that was a cheeky Monkey Brewery, it had a beer called a draft beer, and when I said, what type of beer is that, he said, it's just a lager. So
misleading.
Very misleading. If someone says you got a draft beer, it means I'm going to get one on tap. But a couple of breweries are calling a type of beer a draft. Anyway, we'll learn something. We're now back in the car heading towards a beer fest. Is that what it's called?
Beer farm.
Beer farm. We have found another brewery called the Beer Farm. Pretty cool place. We have got a tasting paddle, which has the lager, the hazy ale, a summer ale, and then I think this was a ginger beer, wasn't it?
Sure was.
Ginger beer, which is looks like a lemonade. Looks like a lemonade. Anyway, the lager is delish. Next up, we have a hazy standard. Fruitier than a Fruit Loop. Taste that. Michelle loves fruity things.
Sure tastes like beer.
We're at Xanadu Winery.
I think you're getting your ABBA songs very confused.
Is that not the song?
Yeah.
Xanadu? Anyway, Xanadu Winery, Margaret River. This whole area is apparently known for its whites. And as you all know, I love my reds. But after tasting that Xanadu Chardonnay, I think I'm going to be trying a few whites today. So let's see how we go.
So this one is their Viognier, which we've just been told, due to its being so full-bodied, it's the white wine for red wine drinkers, but Ben's decided to skip it, so he's lost. Delicious. Now their 2023 Cabernet Sauvignon was #1 red wine in the world, and they're only selling to members, so we won't be able to taste that one. This is their 2022.
I'm not a Cab Sav fan.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pour it out.
All right, we just finished up at Xanadu. Bottle 1 on the scoreboard. We went with the Xanadu Chardonnay. How could you not? Walking into Vasse Felix.
Vasse Felixi. Some wine from the 70s, 1972 Cab Sav.
Alright, so we just finished up at Vasse Felix where we had a cheese board and did a bit of a tasting, and we ended up buying a bottle of Syrah. It's interesting because we thought we were both unfamiliar with Syrah as a type of wine, but it turns out that Syrah and Shiraz are actually the same. So Shiraz is made from the Syrah grape, and it's really only referred to as Shiraz in Australia and New Zealand, and anywhere else that you go in the world it's going to be referred to as Syrah. So that was interesting. No visit to Margaret River is complete without a visit to the Margaret River Chocolate Factory. So we'll see you there.
Burnt caramel. What was the other one?
Red gum honeycomb.
Good combo. Lucky I'm only a little bit lactose intolerant.
Good morning. We are day 3 here in Margaret River, and beautiful day, the best day we've had so far.
26 already.
Yeah, she's warm. So we're heading on a bit of a day trip down south towards Augusta, stopping off at a few places along the way. Now you might be noticing Ben's looking a little bit sharper than he has the last few days. Do you want to tell him why?
Yeah, so yesterday I went for a little walk down the main street of Margaret River and ran into a place called the Margaret River Barber Shop. Spelling mistake, S-H-O-P-P-E was in it, so that's how you can find it if you're looking for it. And there were 5 lovely ladies working in there, and gave me this very sharp do that'll get me right through to Christmas Eve when I can get back to Reggie in Albury. Now, I hope he's not going to be too upset with me seeing someone else, but it's only a once-off, I can promise that.
Look, you guys can attest, it was badly needed.
Yeah, so...
desperately.
As they said, they converted me from a bushranger to a human, so I think that's pretty accurate. So anyway, if you're in Margaret River, hit them up, walk-ins only, no bookings required. And yeah, they'll service you nicely.
Oh my gosh. Let's hit the road. How beautiful, eh?
Yeah. Hamelin Bay is where we find ourselves, searching for the killer of Steve Irwin, the almighty Stingray. Haven't found any yet.
Yeah, last time we were here there was heaps.
Yeah.
I think maybe we were earlier in the morning.
Yeah, I reckon we were first thing. Don't see any at the minute. Lots of fishermen out
But
there.
how lucky are we this day? Gosh, look at the colour of the water. So that's the historic Hamelin Bay jetty, which was built in 1881. And it was used to export the timber from the local region, which was Carry and Jarrah. It was 600 metres out and could service up to 3 vessels at a time. But it was abandoned in 1913, mainly the preference being Bustleton at that point, because the Bustleton Bay area is a little bit more protected. And then some 10 to 15 years after it was abandoned, a fire destroyed a lot of it. And then in the 1960s, a severe storm came through and kind of finished it off. And yeah, there's only a bit of the remaining timber left of the jetty now. But if you get here in the afternoon, sometimes the stingrays that frequent this area can be seen in and around those pylons if you get the tide right. Otherwise, morning, what was it, 8 till 10?
Yeah, 8 till 10 in the morning,
yeah.
recommended.
So we're here at about midday. We definitely were here early last time we visited.
2019, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was heaps.
Yeah.
We just finished up having lunch at the Colour Patch here in Augusta, and really nice little cafe. Claims to be the last eatery before the Antarctic. We'll have to zoom in on a map and see whether that's true.
Accurate, yes.
But the bar, how cool was the bar?
Very cool.
It was actually a restored 1960s Albany-built 10-metre yacht that they'd reconstructed into a bar. Very cool. Meal was good too. We both had seafood. Lovely.
Yep, that's right. Can't say I tried any of the local beers. It's my day off alcohol, so lemon lime bitters it was. It's just a little bit of alcohol in there.
It's an AFD day for us today.
That's right. We'll see how that goes at dinner time.
A brewery tour backed up with a winery tour the last 2 days. We are definitely due for an AFD day. So on to the next site.
So we found a water wheel here next to the Cape Leeuwin Lighthouse. Pulled in to have a look. Pretty cool. So this was needed to pump water up to the lighthouse so they could mix the mortar to build, to connect the bricks, I suppose, for the lighthouse construction. So up the hill here, there maybe there still is, a natural spring. Water used to come up out of the ground. They channel it along this big gutter system they put in. Over here it got some elevation. Went around this old wheel, spun that, and what that did is it activated the pump that was in here and shot water out through a big long pipe they ran all the way from here to the lighthouse itself up the hill. So pretty ingenious. I think a bit of WD-40 might get that going again, but I don't have a length of hose to connect, so we won't bother trying.
We're here at Cape Leeuwin Lighthouse, which is the tallest lighthouse on mainland Australia at 39 metres, which I didn't think sounded that tall, but there we go.
It's its claim to fame.
I'm guessing there must be a taller one on Tasmania.
Because they said mainland. You know, it's like the electric steam driven train over water.
The solar electric train over water at Bustleton.
I tell you. Anyway.
So it is situated on the most southwesterly point of mainland Australia, and it is still a working lighthouse, so it's still helping to guide vessels through and around the treacherous cape. It was constructed from local limestone, and as Ben said, the water wheel helped in that construction. And it was officially opened in 1896. So, and when it did so, it claimed to have the largest kerosene wick lamp in the world. I read that and I thought, well, that obviously sounds like it was a big deal. Well, it kind of was a big deal actually, because of the size of the lamp. It required 20 to 30 litres of kerosene every day or night for it to run, which meant the poor lighthouse keepers had to lug those tins of kerosene up 152 steps. So yeah, I suppose it is a big deal that it was the biggest lamp in the world. So 3 lighthouse keepers were required to, you know, officially run the lighthouse
on rotating shifts.
On a rotating shift, you know, ran 24 hours. So before the lighthouse's construction, 22 ships were wrecked off Cape Leeuwin, and then after its construction, I believe there was only 1 ship to be wrecked, and it was wrecked during the day at something like 3:30 p.m. It hit a rock and sunk pretty quickly within a couple of hours. There was no loss of life, except for a cat. So I don't know what happened there, but yeah, only 1 shipwreck since its construction in 1896, which is a pretty good run.
Yeah, there was no info in the museum back there about the details. Yeah, but was the captain drunk? Like, why did he hit the rock?
No, but the lighthouse keepers played a huge role in helping to guide the lifeboats into shore, and I think they received medals and awards for their
good on them.
Their work there. So Cape Leeuwin is where the Southern Ocean and the Indian Oceans meet, and that accounts for some of the difficulty in vessels navigating this area. Is the water tends to be fairly rough, in addition to the weather.
But today there is no visual showing the two oceans colliding. Last time we were here about 6 years ago, it must have been a huge swell, or the winds were different, or a different tide or something, because you could kind of see a rough patch and a line showing the mixing of the two. But yeah, nothing like that today.
So in 1982, Cape Leeuwin Lighthouse was the last working lighthouse to convert from the rotating mechanism and kerosene burner to electricity, which I'm sure the lighthouse workers were happy with, given that it would have significantly reduced the manual side of the work that they were doing.
3,650 days of lifting kerosene up those stairs.
I reckon they were pretty happy about that. Yeah. But then only 10 years later, in September of 1992, the lighthouse became fully automated. So all the lighthouse keepers would have lost their jobs.
What would you do after you did a lighthouse operator? Couldn't go to candlestick making, that's probably gone too.
Well, they work for the government, they would have been repurposed. So the site here still has 3 of the 4 original lighthouse keepers' cottages, and what they've done is around the 1950s, they enclosed the verandas. So through that first door, then you get to see the facade, the stone facade of the actual house itself.
The original house, that's right.
Back in the 50s though, there was a request made to protect the lighthouse keepers and their families from the harsh weather here, and so that's when they were kind of enclosed around their verandas. All right, we made it out alive. We just finished our 1-hour guided tour of Jewel Cave, which I believe is considered one of the best show caves in the whole of Western Australia, and it also boasts some of the longest straw stalactites that you'll probably ever see. So that was, and it was an amazing cave.
The best cave I think I've been in, and I've been in a few.
The tour took us through 3 vast caverns of the cave. I think he said the cave runs over 2.7 k's, and when we were able to get right down to the base of the cave, which was about 42 meters below the ground. So huge cave. Highly recommend the 1-hour tour. They leave every half hour, and it's $25 per adult for the tour. Wonderful experience. Interestingly, an intact, complete thylacine skeleton was found in Jewel Cave, which is essentially a Tasmanian tiger, and the theory is that the tiger fell through a hole. Through the
only natural opening to the cave, which is straight up.
Yeah, and then essentially was just trapped in the cave. And they can tell that he didn't die on impact, because when the cave was first discovered, they actually found clear footprints of the animal through the cave. So he's
wandered for
fallen, lived, and then obviously lived for a few days. There was water in the cave, so he was able to obviously have water but no food, and so he died, which was a bit sad.
One other animal skeleton they found in there was a 500-year-old, he's dead obviously, not a 500-year-old living, possum.
Yeah.
So a possum that had been dead for 500 years.
Complete skeleton of a little possum as well.
Same story. He'd fallen in and crawled around for a little bit, found himself in a corner of the cave and dropped dead.
Yeah. And then we also found something else in Jewel Cave.
Who did we see?
Who did you meet?
Ran into John Semi-Newman and his partner Sue. They were both getting a private tour in there and happened to bump shoulders with them, said g'day. So Sam, if you're watching this episode, we'll put a link through to your channel. If you wouldn't mind putting a link to our channel on your video as well, and give us a shout out. Thanks, Sammy. So no, Michelle way too embarrassed to go and say hello. What happened there?
Well, you know what I knew? I knew at that very point that it didn't matter what I took us to for the rest of this holiday, nothing was going to ever meet up to you meeting Sam Newman face to face in Jewel Cave here in Margaret River.
But the funny part is I'm following his YouTube channel, and he's doing a full lap of Australia, and he's been shooting down the west coast of WA, and he's been getting closer and closer to us. So it's been funny seeing him. Yesterday I saw him arrive in Margaret River, and that's obviously where we are at the moment. I thought, what are the chances we run into him in the next day or so? And there we have it. He happened to be getting a tour, him and Sue getting a tour of the same cave we're in. So anyway, yeah, Sam, enjoy our channel, mate. I know you'll be watching. Give us a thumbs up and a like and a subscribe if you will. That'll be good.
Okay.